Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, and Jewelry Forever at jewelryforever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome to episode 163 of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. And I am your host, the one and only Scott Dion Brown, and I'm joined by the greatest co-host in all the galaxy, the one, the only,
Regine Alaina. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy cold, frigid Sunday. I had to beat Scott to the weather today. It's cold.
It's freezing out there.
It's so cold.
Now, I was trying to look it up before the show, but I couldn't find it. But I know we just had the coldest day in something. I'm thinking day of the year, maybe, or day of the... Would be day of the month, or no, day of the season, maybe. I don't know.
We've
It's
definitely
cold,
had the coldest week of life. I was gonna put it out there. It's cold. It's when there's a weather advisory, cold weather advisory, whatever it's called, in the city of Toronto. It's cold.
It's cold. In fact, you know what I found myself doing? So, you know how usually I take my mask off outside, so to get out of the building. Yeah, to get out of the building, usually I'll have it on, and then as soon as you get outside, take it off, breathe some fresh air. But for this one, I was actually leaving it on because I wanted my breath to stay in there and bounce back at me. It was that cold, Regine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was so cold I didn't leave the house.
Well, we used to try to go for a walk every day, although we skipped a couple walks because it was too chilly. It was too chilly. Mm-hmm. So, how was your week, Regine?
My week was good. The pageant sit down is back on air for 2022 as of this week. So it's been fun. Finally got some stuff figured out. So I will be going live every other week for now. And then I'll put a pause to the pageant sit down at some point in the summertime.
Cool. How did it feel to be back after taking a little break?
It was good, but it was also like, oh man, I feel like I'm starting over. I'm like, oh no, my OBS didn't. I don't know how to do this thing anymore. I was gonna text you. I was so close to being like, Scott, help! But I'm like, no, I could figure this out on my own, and I eventually figured it out.
Nice. Yeah, there's always that weird lull when if you haven't done it for a little while. I even find the same thing with video games. If there's a game I haven't played for a week or something, or 2 weeks, and you come back and you're like, what are the controls? I don't even know how to. How did I do this? And then there's always that. Yeah. Anyway. Well, yeah. So it's back. You figured it out, and the pageant sits down is back every other week. People find it on Regine's channel. Make sure you subscribe to her. Link in description.
Yes, there's a special announcement coming on Wednesday. Since I won't be on, there will be an announcement. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Before we continue, though, I do want to give a huge happy birthday shout out to Nicole Min, Junior Miss Galaxy International, who we've had on the show a few times. Happy birthday, Nicole!
Happy birthday, Nicole. Born in January. On this, it's a cold week, but we hope your birthday is
just as warm and tasty as you are.
Good save, Regine. Nice.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Should we bring in our guests?
I don't know. Should we, or should we just leave them in silence this whole time?
Yeah, they've been. That's the thing. If we just don't introduce them, they have to sit there for the whole show, and they're not allowed to say anything because they're not.
And they're like, the best part is they're laughing, but it's like the best silent laugh I've ever seen.
So there'll be a very silent laugh track for the whole episode.
I love it. Can't you see them right now?
Actually, right now I can't because I'm looking at the software, so I see what the audience sees. But okay, well, let's bring them in, Regine. I feel like we've delayed enough. We have, I've got 2 bios here, so if I read one, okay, so I'll have to read both bios, and then introduce them both at the same time because we can't bring in one person and then Actually, wait, no, I can. I can show just one and the other. Okay, yeah, let's do it like that. Okay, so our first guest. Her passion lies in empowering and inspiring others through the arts. She's a multifaceted performer-creator, having a wide and unique range of skills and hobbies, and is the co-founder and artistic director of Black Cat Theatre Company that hails out of Barrie, Ontario. Say hello, everybody, to Sabrina Merks. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I've never been on like a fancy professional podcast before. This is so exciting.
Oh my gosh, Scott, we're fancy and professional.
It's a fancy. Well, I was gonna say, I'm like,
You're
you
fancy
haven't.
and professional.
Yeah.
All the adjectives are yours.
Warm and toasty.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you never been on a fancy podcast, and I was like, you still haven't, but okay,
just got here.
We'll let it. Yeah. Okay. Our next guest is an Indigenous triple threat performer and teacher. Her passions lie in anything creative, anywhere from singing and dancing to hand-making jewelry. That's cool. She's a huge advocate for human rights. What'd you say, Regine? Sorry?
She has her own company.
Oh, nice. We got to find out about that. She's a huge advocate for human rights and equality and will always fight the good fight. With an aspiration to one day open her own triple threat dance studio, she graciously teaches at JNS Dance Studio in Dorchester, Ontario. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Hayley Gelinas.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I'm nervous.
Why?
I'm excited, but I'm like, oh, what if I say something dumb?
Oh my God, don't worry. We do it.
I do that all the time. That's like pretty much what the whole show is. So don't even worry.
Perfect. I'll fit right in.
Can I just say before we start, Hayley has the best silent laugh ever.
When I tell you, it was killing me to have to sit there silently. I was like, I'm gonna say something.
Hayley's
That's why you brought you on.
She's just like mastered her Zoom expressions, just all like Zoom expressions, you're on mute, but you gotta still act.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what the pandemic has done for us all. It's turned us. We've had to learn these whole level of skills.
Your memes now.
Yes. So let's start talking about the Black Cat Theatre Company. I understand you guys are both part of it. Sabrina, I believe you're the founder. So whoever wants to jump in first, but tell us a little bit about the Black Cat Theatre Company.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start. Yeah. So basically, it all kind of started last year because I'm still a student. I'm at Queen's University right now. And I've been in school what feels like for frickin' ever. But I was just tired of having no opportunities, and I was not seeing people like myself represented on stage. And by that, I mean queer, I mean people who were overweight. I wasn't seeing myself or who I thought I was represented. So my fiance, Connor, Jesso, and I were kind of just like, let's just do our own thing. Let's just start doing our own work because it's going to fulfill us more as an artist. So as soon as that started happening in March, we hit the ground running. I was like, let's do shows. Let's do all these things. I just want to create a safe space for everyone. Hayley, who I went to school with, immediately reached out and was like, this is what I want to be a part of. Hayley has always been like I'm a fight the good fight. Which is exactly what I'm here for, especially because we do feel like equity seeking members. We wanted to create a safe space for us, especially with everything, especially that happened at the beginning of the pandemic, with the Black Lives Matter movement and things coming out. We just wanted to create a safe space for any artist to grow, especially emerging artists, because I find at this point in my career, I'm still emerging. I'm still trying to create a name for myself. So Black Cat was just one of the ways we could do that. And Black Cat, the name, comes from one. We adopted a black kitten in January. It's actually a year today since we've adopted Aria. She was originally a cat, or she was originally a her. I say okay words. She was originally a her, but like literally like 2 months later in March, when all this was happening, we found out that she was actually a boy. So it took about like 4 months for his, little kitty balls to drop.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
But I just felt this like strong urge to keep the name Aria, because what it represents is just a chance to show your voice. Aria is like literally just a classical term used for like of the voice and to sing. And I just thought, black cats represent those like outcasts, and like what a perfect way to represent and like highlight my metrosexual cat. With just calling it this theater company as just a collective of place for all these outcasts, these people who don't feel like maybe they've been seen, a chance to actually be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So was it founded during the pandemic, or was it before the pandemic? Oh, it was during.
So it was during the pandemic, yeah. So this 2021 was our first year. We launched in March. We set out to do 4 shows, which was a lot. Especially for someone who's like in school full time, and I was working a full-time job. So this started as like just a passion project, but it grew exponentially in a matter of months, because suddenly I gained interest, from people like Cindy with an S, who was like, come choreograph, the Miss Canada Galaxy pageant, through connections with Haley, because they know each other. So immediately we just we hit the ground running. People believed in us, which was so exciting, because now that we have this little following from this past year, we're really excited to announce what our next season is going to be, and all the, cool things that are really going to help fuel us as artists, and things that are going to put us on the map as change makers in the world, especially in the Canadian arts theater industry.
Yeah.
Awesome. So were these were the shows, because of the pandemic, were you able to do in-person shows at all, or was it all online, or yeah?
No, so they were all online. Haley can probably talk about the rehearsal process a bit, because it's a lot. Because Haley is does a lot of our choreography. And is part of that like creative mind that helps like with the concepts of the shows and everything like that. And because rights are expensive to shows, I'm not sure if you know how it works, but if you want to do some pre-existing material like, Chicago, or, like Tick Tick Boom just came out, it can cost, thousands of dollars just to put a show on for like one night. And we don't have that kind of money. We're just starting up on our own. So we were able to get a SOCAN license, which allows you to kind of use songs that are pre-existing. So we took those songs that are pre-existing. We did a bunch from musicals. We did a bunch of like rock and roll songs, and we kind of just made our own music videos and our own kind of storylines to those. Nice. And we did it all virtually. So we held rehearsals all virtually. The performances were all live streamed or premiered on YouTube, because so many people were missing that connection and you couldn't do it safely in person. So we just took to online and said, you have an iPhone, sweet. You have an audio recording device, sweet. We're going to make it work. We're just dying to do theater. It was just that like, we needed to do something. We weren't fulfilled as artists. It was just that like, whatever it takes, we're going to make it work. So virtual was the way we had to do it.
And it was really nice too, because with Zoom, you can go into these breakout rooms. So myself, my partner, Jared, and Sabrina would host these rehearsals all from one Zoom account. And then Jared would do the music in our like living room. I would go outside, do the choreography with other people. And then Sabrina would take over and do some of the more background story acting, kind of focusing our performers to kind of get that quality of performance that we still want to provide for our audiences, even if it's over YouTube. So it's pretty cool, actually. For someone who's not technologically inclined in any way, shape, or form, I kind of had to learn to be that. So it was a really good way to kind of develop our skills that way too.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of all of our stuff has been trial by fire. Like, I think I remember the first rehearsal, and I'm pretty sure I learned how to make breakout rooms in that first rehearsal. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, I'm a lady who, like, dives full force into something, like, blinders on. I just go, like, right in. But that sometimes is worse because I don't prep myself sometimes for handling these kinds of situations, especially when it comes to technology. I like bare minimum. I can now run a Zoom account. I will say. That is my like claim to fame.
Well, sometimes
the
getting
amount of times that I accidentally kicked myself out and would be like, Sabrina, can you let me back in, please?
These were all the growing pains that we had to go through. But I think, yeah, that jumping head first in is sometimes just the way to do it, and then you kind of really force you to kind of learn on the spot and get it rolling. Were the performances themselves? Were the actors all in different places, or were the actors together in one place, or they were all in different places?
Yeah, so that was also a lot of kind of trial and error, trying to figure out how to get these actors so that their videos were still cohesive, especially if they were doing like a duet or a trio or something where they're all in these completely different opposite ends. Like, we had some people from Toronto, then we had some people in Kingston, some in London. And so there's no feasible way for us to all get together in one area. So it was a lot of trial and error trying to make sure that everyone had the same angle and making sure we're doing things at the exact same time when you can't really have that rehearsal time to do it all together and get that same energy. You kind of had to do it over Zoom. So it was really interesting.
Blocking virtually. How was that?
Yeah, that I can speak to blocking. Like, it honestly, a lot of the credit of all of that should go to like our editing team, who is like Kelsey Jensen, Keelan Ballantyne, myself, Haley. We all like kind of split up and edited things all together, but we each kind of had our own almost like ideas of what each song should look like. So then we, as like individuals, kind of edited all those things together. But without them, it wouldn't have looked amazing, because it's so hard to block on Zoom. It's like, well, I can not be on my screen, or I can be on my screen, you know? So it was a lot of us telling them what they had to do. And in those rehearsals where I was the director and I was playing, I want to like milk these performances, you know, I want to create authentic, you know, emotions for the audience. It was a lot of me doing a lot of text work, because you can't be in that space. They're not like spatially aware. So it was a lot of me explaining, I want you to take this from this angle, film it 3 times, you know, in these different spots and locations. But a lot of it was me breaking down the scenes or the songs and, you know, coaching those actors through those moments of, oh, I see what you're bringing here to this character. If I ask you this question, maybe I can bring something more out of you. So that was a lot of more what we were doing, just because we knew technology wise, it was just going to look like what it was going to look like the best it could. So I think for myself, I was really more focused on making sure I provided the performers with the ammo they needed to deliver a great performance.
Awesome.
Cool. So are there members of like the theater company who have never actually met in person?
I feel like at this point we've all met, haven't we?
I think so. I haven't met Dawn yet, but we just took Dawn on. So that
we did. Yeah. So we recently hired a brand new diversity and equity manager. Her name is Dawn Kane, which is really, really exciting for us. So that's going to help us as like a governing body to make sure that we're doing everything we can to create an inclusive and positive space for any of those equity seeking members, or people need, you know, accessibility needs. Really doing our part to make sure that our audience, you know, feels accepted, and our artists feel accepted in the space and feel like they can work and be true to their authentic selves.
That's amazing. Can I just say, before we move on from your company, you both are amazing. Like you mentioned Canada Galaxy, you are choreographers. We all know I have 3 left feet, because like, let's be real, I have more than 2. And your patience with me personally was amazing. I know I messed up eventually when we were live, but just the two of you taking the time to meet me in the hallway to actually dance or attempt to dance was great. So thank you for that.
Well, that in itself was also just like such a great experience, right? Because like that was the first time where, as someone who has done pageants, like I was on the other end of it. I had never been on that other end before. So it was really exciting to be in this group, this giant room with so many just empowering women. It was such a great experience. So you guys made that so much easier for us too.
Oh yeah. And it's so different, you know, like actors are like herding cats. Like I hate to say that, but it's true. Like performers are like herding cats, you know? And a lot of like being theater practitioners today is having a lot of patience, especially for people to find their own. And that's what I love about pageantry too, is it's a lot of people and women bringing in their own individualized stories. And I'm all for you dancing your personal story, you know, and like giving people, and oh yeah, you did, honey. It was great. And like, you shine so much. But at the end of the day, no one's watching your feed. It's all about the confidence, right? And confidence isn't even just a thing. State of being, you know. So as soon as like we were able to help all those women and all those like young girls too, like feel this, like all of that, you know, like almost like shame or guilt or, you know, like self-consciousness like kind of floated away. And that was like, I think the most beautiful thing that I can like speak to about that whole experience, as I get emotional. But it was just like so lovely because you see so many women, you know, and young girls like hating themselves, you know, and like they don't want to see themselves on places like that. And then to see you guys all just like shine and all of those insecurities melt, like as soon as those lights came on, it was beautiful and breathtaking and so empowering just to watch.
I mean, pageants are, their nature of them is very theatrical as well, right? I mean, it is putting on a show, and we've talked about it before.
Absolutely.
And you know, people get this idea with pageants who've never been involved that it's a very competitive idea. You know, like there's that sort of stereotypical, like the person grabbing the crown off somebody's head or whatever. And I'm sure that exists in certain places, but my experience, either competing or also hosting, is just when you actually see what's happening, everyone's very supportive because it does really feel like you're a cast putting a show together. So you're helping each other with the costumes or the outfits or whatever, you know. And so there is a very theatrical element to it, the live theater feel.
There's that sense of community that you get from a production too, right? Like everyone talks about how that cast becomes their family when you do a lot of shows, and how people who work close knit like that, because you're sharing your authentic self, you're letting people see true sides of you, and you're putting that on display for everyone to see. And you know, that's what we do as actors too. We wear a lot of our emotions on our sleeves, and that creates such a safe collective that you don't find anywhere else. I know I hate the stereotype of like pageants are these evil competitions and these things, but like they are competition, but they create healthy competition, and they create these safe spaces for people to fail and for people to succeed, and a place for you to find like-minded people just like you.
Yeah, like I fully just found my voice through doing pageants. I remember when I entered my first pageant, I was 12, I think. And before that, like any sort of public speaking, I would literally do my speech or whatever and then go cry in the bathroom. Like I was terrified. You could not pay me enough to talk in front of an audience. And then looking at how doing my first pageant did that, and the first one I did was Miss Teen Ontario North. And what they focused on a lot was they did like a whole academic test. We did, we had to like, obviously this is something I should already know, but we had to like learn all the provinces and all of their capitals and important figures in Canadian history. So learning that kind of stuff too, a lot of people don't realize that kind of stuff goes into pageants as well. Like it's not all, oh, look at my pretty hair, look at my pretty face. There's a lot of brains with the beauty.
well, and every day too. Oh, sorry. And I was just going to say, and every day too, we're changing our definition of beauty, and we're changing all of those things. So, things and stereotypes that people learned, we need to unlearn, all these things, because beauty is all in the eye of the beholder. And it's not about who you are on the outside. It's all about who you are on the inside. And I think it's the same with acting too. The moment you can show your authentic self when you're acting is the moment that it speaks true to the audience and you get that reaction that you want from them.
Well, I was going to say all three of you are former pageant kids. You're also all theater kids and actors. Would you guys come back to the pageant world? Scott?
I mean, I don't know if I don't necessarily feel the desire to compete in a pageant. I'll do it maybe, but it's I enjoy doing it. I enjoy hosting, I think, more now than competing in the pageants. But I mean, it is a fun atmosphere to be around. I just don't know if I would necessarily. I don't feel that bug, that kind of like that. Oh, I need to get out there, But
because it's been so long.
Could be. I mean, maybe I'll just get back in again and be like, gotta get out there. I don't know. What about the other two?
I mean, any chance to be on a stage, I'm all over it. So say the opportunity arises, I'll be like, yeah, sure. As long as I get to go walk in front of an audience, cool, great. I'm happy.
You realize Cindy might be watching, right? So you saying that.
Hi, Cindy.
Like, hey.
I can't right now. I just bought a new car. So
I guess for myself, like, I think it would depend on maybe the category, because I don't think I would compete in a Miss category. If there's going to be a category, I want there to be, like, Haley's going to laugh, like, there needs to be a queer, section, because I'll talk about my gender here, because that's another thing too that we discover as theater artists, but like, I don't always feel like a woman. And that's something I'm discovering. So if I was to ever compete in a pageant again, I think I'd want to compete in something that's a little more, just about being a person and not necessarily, being like, I'm a Mrs. or I'm a Miss, because, some days I don't feel like a Miss or a Mrs. And also finding that, like, gender expression too can be really fun for, people in the pageant world, to play with as well. So I think maybe if Cindy's watching, maybe she can, convince there to be another category, or, open it up to maybe something that's, a bit of blurs the lines of, Mr. and Mrs.,
I could see such a pageant like that.
Yeah. I feel like there's a need for that kind of pageant too. Sabrina, let's talk after and make something.
Yeah, I'm down.
This could be the beginning of something.
I mean, you too, Haley. Sorry, Canada. The three of us. Yes, let's do it.
Because you just wonder, like, you could. I mean, there's several ways you could do it. Like you mentioned, how an additional category, either that, or you could just sort of alter the guidelines of the main category so that I mean, I guess because you imagine, like, oftentimes there's like a ball gown section, but you could theoretically just change it to like formal wear and then just see what people do.
Scott's on this now too. Okay, so Sephora.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
Okay,
it's
so
a
this
lot
is
of
the thing
it
that
just,
we're gonna do.
Yeah, it would be a lot of us asking those people, those equity-seeking members, like, what would you love? Because the fashion wear, I can just imagine, like, that anyone, I can imagine, like, club looks, like camp kid looks, all, those things, like, from queer culture. But then when you said, like, best formal, that's exactly what I imagined, people wearing, tuxes, people wearing dresses, a combination of both. Things that maybe blur the lines of, what you see as, hyperfemininity and, like, hypermasculinity. And maybe that features drag performers who want to enter these kinds of things as well, right? But I mean, there are pageants in the drag world as well. Like, those exist in their own entity. But I think there could be something that's way more fluid and blurs the lines,
Yeah, where you almost don't put any lines. Like, you kind of, like I said, you put formal wear. So you say, okay, this is a category where, imagine a giant ball where everybody wants to wear their best, but what is considered the best, you leave that up to the individual.
Yeah.
You could do it.
And it focuses so much more on that individualized expression, which is also what we love from pageantry, right? We love seeing everyone wearing their own unique gowns, whatever they think fits themselves, right? Whatever makes them feel beautiful and handsome. Like, that's exactly what we would see.
Yeah.
We're on to something.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
You guys heard it here first.
Yes.
There you go, people. Keep your eyes peeled. This might be the beginning of something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah. Regine, why don't we quickly do the ads, because we're about the halfway point, and then we'll come back and talk more with Sabrina and Haley. Okay. Everybody, today's episode of The Sit Down is brought to you by the following fantastic advertisers. The Toronto real estate market is growing and changing every day. And in these challenging times, you need someone in your corner. Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, is committed to looking out for you. She'll go the extra mile to ensure you have all the information you need to make a decision you can feel confident about. Purchasing a home is one of the biggest financial investments you'll make in life. Don't leave it to chance. Call Jeanette McKenzie at Forest Hill Signature. She's my realtor. Yes, that's right. I'm living in the place I'm in. She helped us find it. She's my realtor, and she could be yours. Call today at 416-523-0408 or email at jmckenziehomes@gmail.com. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East, Markham. They do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and they change watch batteries, all done on site. Jerry at Jewelry Forever is an absolute artist. If you have a vision for a custom piece of jewelry, he can create it for you, and he also has a lovely selection of goods already there. You're sure to find something special for somebody on your list, and we have a special deal worked out with them, don't we, Regine?
We do. Whoa, we do. If you go in and let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right, 15% off. 15% mention the show. Tell them Scott and Regine sent you, and get yourself something lovely with a nice deal.
Yes, right before Valentine's Day.
That's right, Valentine's Day is coming up. Yes, I'm glad you always remember these things, because I...
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, there you go. Find out more, everybody, at jewelryforever.ca. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's very easy, right, Regine?
It's simple. All you guys have to do is email us at radioshowad, that's radioshowad@gmail.com.
We do the show live every week, ladies and gentlemen. And we also read the ads live week to week. What does that mean? It means that you can customize the ads week to week. Do you have an event, a sale, something happening at a particular time and particular place? You let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's a great way to build a new relationship with a new audience. Get in touch, radioshowad, radioshowad@gmail.com. And we're back. Hello, everybody. Oh, Mr. Scribbles TV. Oh, he put the lyrics to Into the Thick of It in the chat. Hi, Mr. Scribbles. Sorry I didn't see you until now, but hi, there you are. And I saw somebody earlier on DLive follow. I think your name was DeLive something. I'm sorry I didn't say it at the time, but, we were mid-conversation, and, that's how it is. But we appreciate you. Hi, welcome to the show. Hit the like button if you haven't yet, everybody. We are here with Sabrina Merks and Haley Gelinas of the Black Cat Theater Company. Before we move on from it, I did want to ask, just because obviously it was founded in the pandemic, so you haven't been able to do in-person performances, but also a large part of theater is that, that kind of differentiates it from film or television or anything, is that in-person interaction. So I assume obviously we're at the whims of what this pandemic is, but I guess is the plan to eventually transition into more, I guess, live performances?
They're both.
Yeah, it is. I guess I'll say it here. We haven't actually announced kind of what we're doing as a company yet.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on doing a season announcement today or anything.
But we're getting one.
Well, maybe a little bit of one.
Little teaser.
I will say we're planning to do 3 projects this year. One of them will be filmed. The other 2 will be in person. which is really exciting. And I guess I can give a little teaser of what the big project we're going to be doing is, and kind of what has happened with Black Cat. So we felt like last year throughout the pandemic, we did a lot of stuff that we thought would just get the ground running, maybe wouldn't necessarily fulfill us, you know, as storytellers, as people with unique stories. So I sat down with some of my admin team and I was like, what are our thoughts if maybe we just devised our own musical? So our plan is now every year to devise and write a musical together and then perform it that same year. So that's like the biggest news that is going to be really, people are probably going to be excited to hear, is that we're going to be doing a lot of our own self-written work moving forward, that we create as a team, that we devise together, all about stories that we think need to be told. So that's what's really exciting. I won't give the rest away. You'll have to tune back in and, come to our Instagram, our Facebook for the live announcement when we announce our season. But that's a little tidbit for those theater people out there. Yeah.
Fun.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
So cool. Yeah, because the thing like I miss, like, I haven't been in a theater show in quite a long time, but I mean, I play a lot of live music, and there's things that you start to miss are just little things. Like I remember even the idea of when, like maybe you're not on stage, but like you're another actor is, and you're like just in the wings and you're just watching them from the side. And then like sometimes, especially if some theaters are really tiny, like the backstage is like super small and you're just like squished. Maybe you're like squished next to other performers and you all have to like really be quiet and like not be seen. You know what I mean? Like those little experiences are the things that you kind of create really cool memories. It's how, for example, like a theater company or like a group of actors or performers or whatever, it's how you get close, because those experiences that the audience doesn't even realize or know what's happening, So I really miss those, and I imagine you guys probably have similar thoughts in terms of,
It's kind of like we're missing out on that inside joke that we have, like it creates this bond because we're all working really hard to perform this illusion for you, like it's all really an illusion, but a really cool immersive one that, like you were saying, you can't get from film and TV. Because it's those real life people in front of you. But if you see someone peeking from the corner, you ruin that illusion, right? You take that power away. So there's something to this like little secret that you guys all have that's like, we know we're pretending, right? But we want to make sure the audience believes that what you're doing is real. So it creates this like kind of other little sense of community, this like little secret you guys all hold together. And that's that world of the play that you've created, or the world of the musical or piece that you've performed or created, right?
Exactly.
I remember when we did Spring Awakening, right at the beginning, as like the first scene is kind of going on, it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but basically it's just the main character out front just singing this like nice quiet kind of song about growing up. And so my friend Kira and I, we would always start on opposite sides of the stage. So she would be in one wing and I would be on the other. And to kind of just amp us up, we would just pretend we were throwing a ball across the stage to each other. There was nothing there, but we knew we were like throwing something. We're like, ooh, the audience doesn't know what we're doing. And like, you miss that kind of thing. Like, it's the little things, right? It's that camaraderie that you kind of gain throughout this long rehearsal process, spending hours on end together, going through all of these. Sometimes big life changes happen during that time, and the first person you tell is your cast.
Yeah.
So it's it's definitely a big thing that I miss.
I just saw you follow as well. Yare C. Truco, I think the name was, but hi, welcome to the show, following on D Live. We're here interviewing people from the Black Cat Theater Company. Yeah, I mean, also, the thing about that's so cool about theater, live music, all of that is, like, it's stuff can go wrong in live theater, which is why it's so cool in that there's that in the moment thing. Like when the audience is watching it, the idea that they're watching something that flows so perfectly like a show, the same way that a TV or film would, except you're creating it like everyone's got to remember the lines and walk in at the right time, and everything has to go. Like, there's so many things that it creates this, I don't know, I guess it's pressure, but it's like a cool pressure where everybody's working together. There's just that thing that's, you can't almost recreate it unless, I guess, you're doing some kind of live online performance. But yeah, I mean, I just really miss that aspect of it, the I don't know, intensity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that like secret pressure, and like that can sometimes eat you alive too. Like I mean, we all have those stories of the times we like messed up on stage. I have one. So Haley and I went to school together at St. Lawrence College, and we did a production of Jesus Christ Superstar together. And I played Annas, one of the like evil priests who like believed Jesus should be killed. This is all in the context of the musical as well.
You're like, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I don't believe these things. Which was also hard. We can talk into that stuff too. But I just remember, I think it was my parents were coming, and I was like so stressed because like I was like, oh my God, I want to make sure I do them really proud. This is my first time having like kind of a big role because I was like in the ensemble before, so like I get a chance to really sing. And I walk out on stage and nothing comes out of my mouth. I'm supposed to start singing, nothing happens, literally nothing. And I'm supposed to be singing to Judas, and I'm supposed to be like telling him like, how dare you do this thing, to start the whole downfall of Judas's demise. But I literally just walk on stage, nothing comes out of my mouth. And I just make the most direct, intense eye contact with that character. And they know that I don't know what's happening and that I fucked up. So they just keep going. But I just like looked so intensely. I didn't sing anything that entire like 20 seconds because I was just like walk on, walk off. I literally just did that, stared intensely at them. They sang their lines. The other character sang. I didn't sing again. And then I walked off.
And like that 20 seconds, it might not feel like a long time for the audience.
But, yeah.
However, when you are in that situation, you're like,
of course,
I've been here for 10 years.
Oh, and that was like, that pressure eats you. I remember just feeling like, oh God, I felt so bad after that, just being like, oh, I messed up the story, yada, 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 all those things. But like as an actor too, it is live, there is no film. I don't get to do it again. So it's in that moment where I was like, okay, I'm upset with myself, sure. But I'm going to fire myself. I'm going to let myself go. And I'm going to rehire myself for the next scene. And I'm going to do it right this time.
Yeah. And you make it work. And I'll bet you the audience didn't even really know anything had gone wrong, right?
No, the director came up to me and was like, no one would have known. I mean, my dad knew. Obviously, because it's my dad, but a lot of people came up to me and like didn't say anything, and I was like, huh. But that's the thing too, right? Like I had just gone on with that intensity. Had I have shown any hesitation, had I have shown anything, then it obviously wouldn't have worked. But as an actor, I guess I just like I was clicked into that moment, but the words didn't come out. So thank goodness, because like you said, not many people knew. And the director came up to me and was like, Liz Gilroy, and she was like, good save. No one's going to know. And I was like, well, that's good to hear,
Yep. I think that's something that...
21 and so scared.
Yeah. But I think that's something that every performer, I think, goes through. Because I remember I used to have the same problem playing in bands where we'd finish our set, and I know that I made a bunch of mistakes. And then people afterwards would be like, oh, yeah, awesome set or whatever, right? And I'd have a hard time being like, oh, but I messed up, you know what I mean? But then I realized that they didn't notice any of it. You know what I mean? Like every mistake that you make as a performer, and you know what? This can be applied to life in general too. But it's like every mistake you make, it's always going to be bigger to you. Like you'll notice it,
Absolutely.
But everybody else is kind of watching. They're watching the overall show.
Yeah.
And they don't,
and as much as we know what it's supposed to look like, the audience doesn't know. They have no idea. Maybe we just changed that line. Maybe we took those lines out. They don't know what we've been working on for the last 6 months.
Exactly. They're not, they're not following along. Exactly. They don't have the script in their hand. They're not following along. And
it's a revision. from the original.
Exactly.
What do you
Exactly.
mean?
Yep, that's true.
An
Like they own,
artistic cut.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, they just
Yep.
all of a sudden have no lines.
I improvise.
Yeah, exactly. But that's true. Like there's so much of it too that is like we are our biggest like critics too, right?
Mhm.
And I was listening to a musician once, and he was a great jazz musician. I can't remember the name of him now. But he was basically, someone was interviewing him asking like, oh, how do you feel when you make a mistake? And he just like stopped and he was like, I'm constantly making mistakes. I'm just good at covering them up. And I think that's like one of the good things we do as actors is like, and especially those people who have a bit more experience, like can see when those things are going to happen and they can cover them up so beautifully, right? Like I'm sure like you as a musician, like playing live, you know, oh, I know if I like, you know, cover it with this chord, you're not going to hear my fumble, or I'm going to improv this over top so you don't hear that. Oh, funky chord, let me fix that right away. You know, things like that. We're constantly problem solving as actors too. But I just love that, like, I'm constantly making mistakes. I'm covering them up, you know? And that's so true to life, too. Like, all of us are making mistakes in our lives constantly, doing the wrong thing, not thinking things through. But like I said, it's that, like, mantra of, like, you got to fire yourself, let yourself go, let it go, and then rehire yourself, you know? Bring it back in, hunker down, do it again, you know?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
yeah, good advice. And like I said, it applies to just life
Everything.
in general as well.
Yeah.
It's just because the thing I think, and I have quite a few young people watching on the streams, you know, and sometimes they'll talk about like maybe they're going through something hard in school, or like, you know, they made a mistake with something or whatever. And I always try to tell them the first thing is like, for starters, everybody is kind of going through the same thing they are, because you can always feel like you're the only one going through something. And also when you make a mistake, you think that everybody's looking at you and everybody's watching and paying it, you know, when in reality, everybody's going through the same thing you are. And everybody is really worried about their stuff and their own, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And really your best thing is, I like what you said though, like let yourself go, let it go, and then, you know, rehire. I like that. I like that saying.
I won't
Is it
take
bad?
that.
Okay.
I won't coin that phrase. That came from like an old acting instructor. He always said that to us, so I like stole that from him. So you can thank him for that one. I won't take credit.
I was gonna say, is it bad that when Scott said just let it go, I thought Elsa. I'm like, is he gonna break out into song?
Well,
You
it's
wanna build a snowman?
it's from the same place, Regine. I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's the same advice. So
It really is.
so there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I know you guys are also, so I think I mentioned it in the bios, but you're also both very serious about human rights in the arts, as well as mental health awareness. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as an Indigenous person who does not look like an Indigenous person, I have always really struggled with that kind of identity, almost with a little bit of imposter syndrome, where I'm like, oh, I'm not allowed to relate to any of these because I'm white. And it's taken me so long to kind of sit in that place where I'm like, yes, I am white, but I'm also just as much Indigenous as I am white. And what our kind of deal with Black Cat is, we want to make a space available for anyone, for people who are struggling with that imposter syndrome, for people who are settled in their identity, for people who don't even know where to start. It's just an accepting place where they can create their art and create their truth. And maybe that'll help some people along the way.
Like as theater as theater artists, we have so much power. And I can talk about this forever and I get so passionate, but like Kaylee's like, okay, here you go. But like, I think there's so much power in theater. It's form, the sense that like these people are in front of you working out their real life problems. And oftentimes what we see in theater and in all those things is it's a representation of the human condition. And in these like creating authentic spaces for these people, we want to curate their stories, those stories of these people that have never been heard before, because constantly in the media we're constantly told, you know, white thin bodies are you know, those are what we idolize, you know. And especially like for me, when I was like 300 pounds, like I had never ever seen a fat woman play a lead role unless she was the butt of someone's joke, you know. And it, you know, and those things that you see get pushed down through society. So then young girls, you know, who might be bigger, have never seen themselves. They start to believe that they don't deserve love. And I think that theater has a power to show real life human stories that aren't these idolizations of things that we see in the media. You know, raw. And it's raw emotion of real people. And that's going to be valuable for audience members because it gives them a chance to reflect. You know, there's so much video games, there's so much, you know, social media consumption that I think people really use those things nowadays to distract themselves. Theater has such an opportunity to give people the chance to reflect on their own lives. I can think right now of plays I've read or things that I've seen that have made me go, whoa, like I've never thought that way. But even you won't have maybe necessarily even thought that way if you've never seen yourself accurately represented on stage either, which is obviously what we really want to see. And we want to tell and curate those stories of those people and to show that, you know, we're all human beings, but we're all human becomings. We're all becoming something transcendent, you know, and theater is transformative in nature. We see these people in real time go through some journey. And that transformation doesn't end with that character. It ends with the audience. And I think that's what like we're really excited to tackle as like Black Cat, and evoking and creating these affective moments with the audience. That leave these powerful messages, because there's stuff that need to be shown. You know, we're slowly, you know, starting more with like Belle Let's Talk. You know, there's a lot of stuff coming out, but there's still so much more work that needs to be done. And for myself too, as like a queer artist, it's hard because I look very feminine when I present myself. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how I feel on the inside. And I would love a safe space to talk about all these things, because often as theater practitioners, we're just trying to answer big questions. You know, like I can think about plays where their overarching questions are like, what is race? That's like things that we need to be talking about. More or less compared to, you know, like maybe just retellings of, you know, Beauty and the Beast. You know, like that's the kind of stuff I think is going to be really transformative and really helpful for people. Sorry, that might have been a bit of a tangent, but
no,
I think it was cool.
No, it was a good tangent.
It is.
Yeah. And yeah, I think theater is unique, I think, because of the live way, the way that it connects with people in person, especially when it switches back. Like there's something special that you can build when you're actually physically in a place with a group of people, you know, and it's just different. I mean, obviously, of course, like all art can be transformative, and you know, you can get a lot out of a film or like, you know, listening to, you know, but there is something unique about that when you're physically in a spot with somebody. The connection it's just unique in that way. So it's cool.
No, for sure. I remember we went to go see Next to Normal when it was in Toronto, and the whole show, the whole premise is like all about mental health, and it focuses on a family where their mother like really struggles with her mental health, and it kind of shows how real it is. Like it's not just, oh, mom's sad today. Like it was showing the struggles that this family is like truly going through, and all of the things that they have to do on a day-to-day basis just to keep it going. And by the end of the show, I think the entire audience, all of us were just sitting there not knowing what to say, because we had never seen something like that portrayed so viscerally, like right in front of us. And like that's the kind of theater that I want to produce. Like that, I want the audience to sit there and think about it and be like, oh, I've never had to think about this before.
Amazing. Yeah. You know, the other thing I also like about it is, and this is not so much specifically to theater, but also for film, part of the reason I've been hesitant, like, so I made a short film, finished it recently, put it in some film festivals, but a lot of the film festivals are, because of the pandemic, were sort of online versions. The one thing that I don't like, and I was trying to avoid some of those, and same thing with online, just online anything, is I like in-person stuff, or like, say, when you actually go to a theater to watch a film, because nowadays there's such a trend of you almost half watch things, like you've got it on their screen, but then your phone is here and you're kind of
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and whereas when you go to a theater to watch either a film or a live performance, in fact, a live performance almost even more so, because like the actors can see that you're on your phone, so that's just awful. But there's something about I don't know, it demands your attention. You're in a dark room, there's only one thing to look at, that's what you're looking at. And I feel like there's something special about that when you commit to actually watching something. And I don't like this kind of half watching that is very common nowadays. I don't know.
Then don't show me.
That's why, but it's almost like I wait to, when we can be in the theater. It's better. But
no, absolutely, because you're forced to pay attention, which is something that's not super like prominent anymore, right? Like, you don't have a choice. You have to sit there and watch it, especially if you're in a dark room. Like, you're not going to pull out your phone and brighten up the whole theater.
You don't want to be that person.
No.
Yeah.
No one wants to be a Tommy Texter.
No.
Yep. I don't know. It's one thing I don't like about, I don't know what the right word is, where our culture has gone, or where it's like, so many times I've been in a group of people, and like we're all watching a movie or something, and like I know that like none of us have seen the movie, so it's not even like, oh, I've seen this 50 times, but like every now and again, like I'll just sort of look over, and like half the people in the room are like on their phones at the same time, and I'm like, what? And then they kind of just like look up when like something exciting sounds like it happened. I'm just like, you're not really watching this though. Like you're gonna miss all the subtlety. Like you're gonna miss like the way they said it, or maybe there was like a look in their eye when they said it, or like, oh, they showed a close up of like that thing that he was holding in the beginning, and then inevitably that person halfway through the movie, that person's like, sorry, why is that? And I'm like, well, maybe you should have watched it.
Oh, it's the worst when they ask a question partway through and you're just like, weren't you watching? Right? But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of like, especially I think more since the pandemic, because like there's so much more content out there, and like things like TikTok have like really messed people up, because that's constant scrolling, but there's so much, you can scroll forever. There's like constant content of stuff that's interesting. And our attention span has dropped, because now how long do you have to catch someone's attention? In TikTok, you have like 0.1 second before you're already seconds, on, not even, like you have like a second, to move on to the next, right? Our attention spans have decreased. So we're looking for that like dopamine increase we get from when we see something we like and something that like feels good to us. So when something we're watching, that might need more thought, we're still looking for that like attention seeking, I find.
I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, because it's true, because TikTok, like, that's true. I'm the same. It's like you'll see something, and I'm not even sure what it is, but if the thing doesn't instantly grab me in that way, it's gone.
Next.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so. And
it's so easy to just be like, okay, next.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
So, I don't know. Gotta find a way. I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe it will come back. Like once this thing is finally over with, and we can start to interact with each other again, and again, live theater.
So much.
Yeah, live theater comes back. We can. Anyways, it's just one thing that like, and I watched there's a couple other friends I have who have done some like online theater productions over the time, and like I tried to, when I watched to, you know, like I cast it onto my big screen, and, you know, I like turn the lights down, and like I tried to like kind of recreate a little bit of that, you know. But even as I'm watching it, I was like, I know that there are people who are watching this right now who are like, I don't know, they're just on their phone. You know,
they're not watching. They're tuned in, but
Yeah.
they're
so.
no, absolutely.
They're there,
I
but
also-
not really.
Yeah. I also think there's something true too about how like when we've tried to do like theater productions and then put them online, it doesn't translate the same. It's not the same, right? And there's something too about like film, whereas like when you're acting, like your frame is this, you know. When you're on stage, you have so much more space. You get to be so much more theatrical. Because they still are representations of us, but they're still so much more bigger, right? So I find too, like in attempting, because I've watched a lot of those, like a lot of my friends, you know, put on little cabarets and stuff that are supposed to feel like theater, you know, or I saw like Zoom versions of, you know, like musicals as well during the pandemic, but it was just like, it doesn't feel the same, because that is the kind of thing that has to be in person. It doesn't succeed on a screen. Because like film is all about like that image, that like the cinematography, the shot, it all has to do with the way it looks. Where I feel like, whereas with theater, you know, as we've been talking, I've been thinking it's a lot about how we feel. It's a lot about that like visceral reactions we get by, you know, being distractionless and just having to watch these things. That is different from film, because we admire, you know, these beautiful sunsets and things like that, but you don't get that on stage, right? They're real people in real time. So it's so different, but yeah.
You know, I think it's part of just mentioning that. I don't know if you guys ever saw did you guys see the Cats movie?
Oh God.
I have not. I refuse. I just like, I can't.
I saw a
Taylor
preview
Swift
and I
is
was
a
like,
cat.
no.
It's but what I've realized is actually watching the movie, and it is like one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, like things in the world. It's one of the weirdest things. But I've watched a bit of like on YouTube, there's like snippets of the stage show, right? And I've never seen the stage show, but it kind of made me want to see it, because I don't even necessarily think I like the show in general, but I think the thing that the film was missing is I think there's a kind of like there's a connection in the theater that the show builds with the audience, that they're kind of in on the joke. There's this sort of like ironic, you know, and I think that's lost in film, because they're not like, these are not supposed to look like real cats. They're not real cats, and they kind of leaned into this. They are real. Like, look, the fur is and the tails move. Yeah, they really, you know. But again, I think it was because I think that's a show that just, if they wanted to make a film version of that show, I think it needed to be, you know, a beautifully shot stage show, like just film the stage show. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
especially
totally
too, because like with the stage show, like you're all there together, actors included, experiencing this wild ride, where when you're watching it on your screen at home, it's like, what is happening right now?
What am I looking at?
I saw it in theater. I went to theaters and saw it.
I think too, it's like the CGI, like it looks too realistic. Like, and I find for myself too, like a lot of CGI like freaks me out sometimes, because there is that like you were saying, that like that connection with the audience. Like the audience knows those are people pretending to be cats.
Yep.
Like the audience fully knows that these people, and like we can talk all about like, I don't know if you know, but like anyone who is like actually who like trained to be in cats, they had to do all these workshops, and like they watched videos of actual cats and learned how to like pretend they had a tail, and like how they like, you go fully in depth into these things. But there is that like connection of the audience knows these are people playing cats, but in the film they put a face of a person on a CGI cat body. You know, like it takes that away. It just like feels so strange and foreign to us, because like we can understand those are people pretending to be cats. There's obviously a joke here, but like I find that with the CGI, it was just like,
well, they made a new animal. They made some kind of strange human-like animal
An evolved cat.
Yeah, it's such a strange movie. I mean, I think everybody should see it because, like, in fact, it's funny because I saw it in theater, but that was my first time watching it. And there were people in the row behind me who it must have been like their 5th time watching it. And so, like, they were there to, like, make fun of it. And I was kind of getting mad because they were kind of talking the whole time.
Oh, that's annoying.
But again, I understand this was like they're like, you know, they're it's like I guess a hate watch or whatever. Like, I get what they're doing, but because I hadn't seen it yet, I was like, I'm just trying to take it in. But it was such a strange, I don't know. I just think, film the stage show. I'd like to see that, but this is weird.
I remember when we went to go see it, there was like a group of like probably like 17, 18-year-olds behind us. And I just heard one of them, like probably 3/4 of the way through the movie, like they've all been watching it for an hour and a half. And one of them just turns to their friend, they're like, "What is this about?"
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because there's not really a plot, right?
No, it's just a collection of these like stories, but based on a book, right?
Yeah, and apparently the movie tries to kind of have a thread, like they follow this one cat around, but my understanding is the stage show doesn't even really have that. It's more of like, like a cabaret show almost. Like, it's kind of just it's a performance and you're learning about these different cats. Anyway, it was strange. It was strange. Is that the same guy who did the Les Mis movie? It's the same guy, right? I think it is.
Maybe.
Well, I didn't like the Les Mis movie either, so I'm just like, stop hiring this guy.
Also,
yeah.
I will say also, like, it's supposed like Les Mis, like all those things often don't work well as movies because they've all been written for the stage, right? They don't translate the same, which is why, like you were saying, Scott, like a more beautifully like filmed version of the stage production would be so much more moving.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, like, so I saw, in fact, the last show I got to see, it was basically right before the pandemic, was Hamilton, and but the thing is, I saw the stage show in Toronto, but I had really bad seats. I was basically at the back of the theater. And actually, what I found is I didn't find myself getting into it that much. But I think the problem was there were a lot of people in the audience who have seen the show. And so they kind of were like, for example, the King, right? The first time the King comes out, it's like the audience was already getting so excited before he even came on. And I hadn't seen it, so I'm like, it didn't occur to me to get excited, and so I think their reaction took me out of it, and then it was so far away, and so I couldn't get into it. But then, during the pandemic, Disney Plus put out a version of the stage show, which is a filmed version of the stage show with like the Broadway cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was after watching that, I was like, oh, this show is awesome, because I actually kind of got to see, you know, what the show actually is about. Like, it's not exactly like obviously in person is better, but at least I got an actual
at least you
feel
got to
of
see
like
the stage.
Yeah, like, what does the stage show actually feel like? What does it look like? You know, but I don't know.
I mean, those like microscopic facial expressions that you might not have been able to see from the back, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So now I've kind of got this policy now where if I'm going to see a show for the first time, I'm going to try to, if I can, spring for like the better seats for the first time I'm going to see it, you know, just so that I try to get like, you know,
everything.
The experience.
Yeah. No,
absolutely. I found that when I went and saw, I was able to see the Book of Mormon, like when it came to Toronto, like the tour when it came quite a few years ago. And I had a similar experience. Like, I had never seen it. But we were at like the very, very back, you know, back of the balcony in like the Ed Mirvish. So like there's so many seats, right? And you miss out on so much story because sometimes I find too with, you know, theater, they just fill you and they pack you in. And sometimes like you don't actually get the full experience that you were hoping for. Because I saw production like right before we had to shut everything down. I saw the Judas Kiss in Barrie that was being performed by Talk Is Free Theater. And there was maybe not even, I think, 10 people in the audience. And, I was maybe 10 feet from the actor, playing Oscar Wilde. It's about the life of Oscar Wilde and how, like, he was a homosexual and his, like, romantic partners that Oscar Wilde had. But it was so much more impactful because, like Haley was saying, I could see those small facial expressions. I could see his eyes, which I find is, like, so important in theater and in film and any sort of, like, acting practice, is like the eyes are the vessel for the soul. And when you're so far away, sometimes you don't get to see those things.
Yeah. I almost say now it's like, okay, once I know the show and I'm kind of used to it and maybe I just want to go hear the songs. Okay, I don't want to spend, $200 on those seats, so I'll grab the cheap seats. But I think, yeah, for a first-time viewing, especially if it's like a show that you really want to get a real taste of it, a real feel for it.
Yeah.
If you can get those better seats, it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I hope we get to go to live theater soon. Live stuff in general.
Me too. Live anything.
I really thought we were...
our show live soon.
I know. Well, I really thought we were out of it. I mean, I think we pretty much... Omicron kind of came in and just put a wrench in everybody's plans. Because, we were, like, Regine and I were talking about maybe around Christmas time. We were like, oh, yeah, I think we'll be back to in-person shows in January for sure.
Literally a week later. Like, just kidding.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it came out of nowhere. I'm also, like, a teacher's assistant for Queen's University. That's where I'm at school right now. Finishing up my last year, getting a bachelor's in musical theater. But like I said, I work as a TA. So I knew we weren't going back before a lot of other people did. And that was, like, so upsetting because, like, as a person who's, like, in theater, one, that's, like, horrible because we've lost so many jobs in the art sector for the next couple months or weeks because of this. But also so many kids are missing out on this education. And, especially going to school for drama, it has to be in person. If you're going to school to be a part of, like, like an arts industry, it's got to be in person. Everything we do is so about the relationships that we create. So it's so saddening as well, just to, like, feel that for my students too. And, like, some of them as well, these are first year students who are, like, 18. They've been doing Zoom school for 2 years. They didn't get a graduation. They didn't get a prom. They finally get a taste of in-person, and it creates such, like, a safe space for these kids to then all of a sudden have it just, like, taken away. It just sucks. Yeah. Sucks so much.
Yeah. I mentioned a bit on the show last week, but what I heard with the Omicron thing is that it seems to come in really heavy, and then it seems to disappear quite fast. Like in South Africa and a few other African countries where it was detected, it seemed to all follow that same pattern. It comes in really hard and then drops. So if it's anything like that here, we're hoping it comes in heavy and then drops off. Yeah. So.
I will say I've kind of heard through the grapevine that a lot of schools right now, or a lot of at least universities, have all said they're going to be closed, till February, till March. I've heard through the grapevine that some universities and colleges are thinking of changing that. And we might be coming back sooner, which would be really nice. Because if it does follow the trends like you're saying, it means that does mean we might be able to come back sooner if it dissipates faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the girls that I work with, she goes to school at Brock, and she came back to London because she was like, I need to work while I'm doing school. Like, I can't afford to just sit at home all day not doing anything while I'm gaining so much debt for online school. So she came back and she worked for a couple of weeks, and she was under the impression that she would have to go back at the end of February, but she just got a call this past week. She gets to go back on the 22nd of this month. Nice. So it's starting to look up. Really hoping it keeps starting to look up.
Yeah. Trust. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, we'll be cautiously optimistic here.
Yeah.
And see where it's going. Well, this was a great chat, guys. Really, really fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, though, I want to let's go around. I guess, Sabrina, let us know social media, where we can find you, where we can find out about Black Cat Theater, all that stuff, and then we'll go to Haley after.
Oh yeah. So if you want to follow Black Cat, it's Black Cat Theater Co. on Instagram. We have a website, www.blackcattheatercompany.com. And we have a Facebook page as well. If you want to follow me and my personal journey and my art and my story, you can follow me on Instagram at Sabrina Merks. Yeah, Haley?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at Haley.Gelinas. If you do Haley Gelinas, you're going to find my account from when I was 14. So I highly recommend you don't do that. And I feel like that's like the only social media that I actually use.
That's
I use
not
Twitter.
True.
Sometimes I'm funny.
You own a jewelry store.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, my Etsy shop. I've had an Etsy shop for the last like year and a half. We're almost going on 2 years now. It's on a bit of a hiatus right now because I'm kind of going through a bit of a transition phase where I want to change the aesthetic of my shop. Because at first it started with just like, I have ADHD. Let me put all of my hyperfixations out into the world. And now I kind of want to have a bit more of a structure to it. But if you want to check it out, my page is Bella by Haley. And that's Instagram, Etsy, a little bit of everything on there. So yeah.
Amazing. Just before we stop with the two of you, the show that you were mentioning earlier that you had put onto YouTube, is that still on YouTube and can we still watch it?
Our Christmas show actually is still on YouTube. But if there's any listeners out there who are like, oh, I'd love to maybe get a slice of what Black Cat did, send us an email and I'm sure I could work something out.
Amazing.
There you go. Get in touch on Instagram or any of those places, and I'm putting all the links in the description now. So I've added. I'm gonna add the Etsy store as well down there. But right now I've got your two Instagrams and the Black Cat Theater one down there. So I'll add all the others. And if there's any other links you guys want me to add, just let me know. I can add them at any time. And
yeah, perfect.
Great. And Regine, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on my YouTube channel for The Pageant Sit Down every other Wednesday. Link is in the description, so make sure you go and subscribe. Like I mentioned, this week there is a special announcement being launched and announced at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays, so stay tuned. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but not really, and on TikTok at It's Regine Alaina, or you can follow my pageant journey to Galaxy Internationals at on Facebook and Instagram at at Mrs. Galaxy Southern Canada 2022. There's too many handles to remember. Scott, where can people find you?
You can find me right here, where you're watching this very video, youtube.com/ScottDionBrown. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, or TikTok at Scott Dion Brown Official. But YouTube is the best place. It's where you get the videos. It's where you get the live streams, the gaming, the songs, the comedy skits, anything and everything I feel like posting on my channel is there. So, and also please check out my latest song cover. I just did a cover of Two of Us by the Beatles, covered by myself and my brother, Taylor the Brown. And we did a version of Two of Us by the Beatles. So check that out on the channel. And a bunch of you guys have already left a like and comment, so appreciate that. But please do if you haven't. And yeah, youtube.com/ScottDionBrown. Yep.
And follow our social media, the sit down social media, please, because we need more followers.
On Instagram, it's the Sit Down Radio Show, right? Is that still what it is? It is, right? Yeah.
I haven't changed it yet.
All right. I mean, I guess we could just leave it. No, it's good. And then on Twitter, it's Sit Down Scott. Sit down, Scott. Sit
down, Scott.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. It's an angry name. It's an angry name that's yelling at me. So, but I kind of, it's funny. But yeah, everybody, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow all of these people. There's there, and there. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.
Bye.